Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How's it going? So, as we like to start each of these, we want to ask you, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are things going? We know life can be challenging, things are going on, and just want you to know that we're thinking about you. We care about you. And if there's anything we can do, reach out. So what one thing that you could do if you like, subscribe to this channel. And once you do that, and it's free, okay? Nobody's coming after you, buy something. No, no, no. I just want to give out information to people. I wish something like this had been available to me decades ago because I've made all kinds of money mistakes. And so what this is about is just kind of sharing my experiences with you to help you just kind of what is it, forewarned is forearmed. So just kind of giving you a heads up. Okay, so with that, what's new with me? All right, pretty much the same, not a whole lot going on. One thing is, the last time I chatted with you is not making sure that you don't turn your 401k accounts, your retirement accounts, whatever yours happens to be named, making sure you're not turning it into a piggy bank. Because the whole reason for having that account is making sure you have a pot of money that's available to you to take over where a paycheck would have been. So that money's got to last you 30, 35 years at least, right? So just be very careful and make sure to put money into it and steer clear of it until you need it in retirement. Leave it alone. So, one of the stories that I was reading was it was interesting because there was a mother, I think she was in her early 50s, if I recall, with her daughter in her mid 20s. And I know young people are struggling to buy homes. Every generation has something, and this generation is having a lot of trouble being able to afford a home. And I get it. It's hard. It's hard for them. It's hard for those who love them to witness this. It is very, very difficult. Now, the story that I saw, this daughter, I think she was 26 years old. I don't know if she asked her mother how much mom had in her 401k account. I don't know the sequence of events necessarily, just that. The daughter, knowing that mom had this pile of money, went to mom and said, "Will you withdraw enough for a down payment for a house?" Um, Mom wanting to help, but not in this way. This is not a good way to help, because the moment you do that, you have essentially robbed your future. Okay, you take money from that 401k account and you've just diminished your ability to leave work. All right, that's essentially what it comes down to. Stealing from your future. No, 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 no. Whatever you do, and I'm just hoping everybody hears this, that 401k, that 403b, that retirement account, whatever yours happens to be, is not a place to go to because people need money. No, please, whatever you do, do not do it. And I applaud this mother who, like I said, parents want to do things for their children, and it's wonderful that for a second she wanted to help in this particular way. But please, it's not. You can't treat this as a piggy bank. You just can't. I know the daughter was disappointed, and it was probably, from what I read of the story, was beyond that, because then she started trashing her mom about, mom's got this pile of money and she won't share, she's being stingy. And now she's working up the rest of the family. And please, whatever you do, people, resist that urge, and just know that, again, it is your way to buy yourself out of working 9 to 5. Okay, that money, once you figure out, once that final tally comes and you're looking at, okay, I need this to last me 30, 35 years, whatever it happens to be, what can I withdraw from this to keep myself solvent? That's what it's about. And it, when I read that story, it never would have occurred to me, okay, to ask my mother to go into her 401k. I know this is her retirement money, and she worked hard for it. My parents divorced when I was, I think, maybe elementary school, could have been. And she was essentially a single parent, and my dad, pretty much was out of the picture. So I know how hard she worked because I watched it. And it just never would have occurred to me to ask her for money for whatever. I didn't even ask her to help pay for my wedding. No. Just no. It would not have happened. It has not happened, and I'm so glad that mother stuck to her guns, because that is her cash. Then I was reading another story, because if people wanted to help children, what's another way? Because that one is not a good one. Then I go, do you know what a Roth IRA is? And I'm not suggesting anything, because again, I am not a professional, just went to the school of hard knocks, and I just read things and I question, and I was just wondering, can children have a Roth IRA? And I found out, yes, they can. Now, what happens with that Roth IRA when they're minors, parents are managing it, whatever that looks like. But once they hit 18, it legally becomes theirs. And so up until that point, I might suggest you be very careful, that you make sure those young people understand this is not a piggy bank. It's not. And then I'm like, okay, how can a normal person make use of this particular account for the benefit of their children? Because I'm going to stop myself for just a half a second, because the other stories that I was reading is this great transfer of wealth from the baby boomers, okay, is coming to the market. What do people need to do to be ready for that? And I'm like, hold up, because I, again, would never dream of asking my mother for any of her retirement money. Just it would not happen. But when young people are expecting cash, that makes me very, very nervous. I know a friend of mine, she doesn't have her own children. She's single, and her niece is her beneficiary. And she just happened to say something in passing to the niece about taking some of her savings to do some work on her house. She's getting older, and the aunt wanted to do some updates to the house, and the niece is like, oh, no, auntie, don't do that. I'm like, but it's her money. She saved it. She wants to make the house more livable for herself, okay? And there's no reason why the aunt should not be able to do that. Now, I didn't have this conversation with my friend, but I'm like, what? Is the niece essentially saying, don't spend any of your money, since I'm going to be the beneficiary? I want all that money coming to me. I don't know. It was my first thought, and I hope it's not that I'm being ungenerous or whatever, but alarm bells went off for me when I heard that. So in any case, what else can we do to help to take care of these young people at the very start? And so the Roth IRA, you can do those for a minor. And I go, well, what's the max you can put into a Roth IRA? And right now it's $7,000 a year. And I'm not suggesting you cough up $7,000 a year, but then I said, well, what if we did $1,000 a year, saving $100 a month to be able to put into a child's Roth IRA account for them. And if it was $7,000 a year, okay, we're going to start there and I'll tell you the math in a minute. $7,000 that one time, with the understanding that money's going to sit there for at least 50 years. Okay? Then I went to Google and I said, okay, $7,000, and I just picked 7%. It is the value of, or the interest rate that is being earned and accumulated and compounded monthly for this account. What might that person have in 50 years? And 50 was really the highest I could get to. So I said 50 years, 7%, $7,000. And it came to over $250,000. Remember the value of compound interest. The longer it sits there, the more it compounds, the more you can expect to get. So more than $250,000, right? And since most of us can't come up with $7,000, what if you just did $1,000? If you did $1,000 for 7 years, it works out the exact same way. The math is the same. It would still be over $250,000. So rather than young people looking for, their parents, their grandparents, whatever, to die, no, just, okay, let's look at this whole thing about money just a little bit differently. Just young people, take care of yourselves. You need to understand that when we put money away, it's to be, generally to be saved for a reason. And in this case, for retirement, if you want to, look out for a young person so that they're not struggling come retirement time. And there's that pot of money that you or a grandparent, aunt, uncle, friend put away. So in addition to that, hopefully they understand the need to put their own cash away, because $250,000 at least is not going to be enough in 50 years to retire on. Okay, so they'll look at that pot and they'll go, okay, how do I make this last for 30, 35 years? And so that $250,000 is not going to do it at that point. So they've got to take care of themselves. But there's got to be a money shift in this country. Just people understanding how to put money away and to take care of themselves. So just some thoughts from me. Just wanted to share, thoughts running around in my head and what can I do with said thoughts. So with that, I'm going to end, because we want to keep these, in the 11 to 13 minute range. Don't want to keep these too long, because we know you're busy people. You need to get on with it. So with that, we're going to wrap up. Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. And, again, feel free, if you'd like to subscribe to these, have them come directly into your email boxes, by all means do so. It's free. Share it with anybody you think might be able to make use of it. Okay, so with that, again, thank you for joining me for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne, and until next time, goodbye.